When it was announced last night that an arrest had been made in the Savanah Soto case, I immediately got excited just like all of you all. I rushed to my computer as fast as I could. I turned on the live stream and I watched an empty hallway for what seemed like was an eternity, waiting in anticipation to see what the suspects looked like. But I don't think anything could have prepared us for what was to come. After waiting forever and ever and ever, finally, out walks the first suspect, Ramon, the father, the Frito Bandito. Ay, 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 I am the Frito Bandito. Out walks the father, and I see the belly, and I'm like, okay, this adds up. We know it was a fat guy. I see that he's older, and I'm like, okay, this adds up, because in the clip that law enforcement released, it looks like there was an older fat dude there, right? But then I see the face, and I'm like, man, this was not the face I was expecting. This doesn't look like the face of a cold-blooded killer. This looks like the face of someone in distress. This looks like the face of someone that I don't know. I can't even quite put my finger on it. But then he started saying things like, this is fake news, fake news. And I'm like, oh yeah, is that right, Frito Bandito? Are you sure this is fake news? But of course, the internet, they go in an uproar. What does he mean by fake news? Oh my God, what does he mean by fake news? Maybe they got the wrong guy. This isn't the right guy. He said it's fake news. It's gotta be, they gotta have the wrong guy. And I'm sitting here like, what do you expect this dude to do? Do you expect him to walk out there and be like, it's the real news. They got the right guy. They captured the Frito Bandito. They finally took me down. What do you expect this guy to say? Of course he's going to say it's fake news. But anyway, they stuff his big ass in the back of that police car. And then out walks the other suspect. And this was when everyone collectively gasped. I don't know what you were doing at your home when you watched it, but I know you were shocked when they walked out Christopher. I looked and I'm like, is that a dude? Is that a girl? Is that a them, they? What is this thing? I had to be careful. I didn't want to misgender it. Because, you know, these days, a lot of these weirdos prancing around here, they think that misgendering someone is a worse crime than what happened to Savanah and Matthew. So I had to be careful, but I look at this thing and I'm like, what is this? The Latino Undertaker? This dude looks like... I just had a totally different image in my head. I think we all thought that they were going to walk out like some hood-looking dudes, right? Some gangster MS-13-looking MFers. But no, they walk out this. But for me, it was one of those moments where it's so unbelievable that it's totally believable. Now, I know that may sound confusing and stupid to a lot of people, but I also know that some of you understand where I'm coming from. I look at him and I'm like, this is so unbelievable that this guy did this, that it's totally believable. Like, it's one of those situations where it's like the least expected scenario is often the scenario. It's like the person you would least expect is often the person who does the thing, right? And I mean, you can go look at serial killers and people who have done all of these heinous crimes. More often than not, they're not these physically imposing individuals. So I look at this kid and I'm like, whoa, okay, this makes me, start looking at this case a little differently. I'm looking at this kid and I'm like, what in the hell? This baby-faced 19-year-old, this long hair, he looks like a lame, gamer kid or something. Nothing wrong with being a gamer kid, by the way. But he looks like, more of a reserved, sheltered, kind of weird type of kid. But, one thing that I've learned in life, it's often the lamest people who pull the trigger. You're out here and you're worried about the most gangster and the most hardcore people. Often it's the lames. Often it's the people who are afraid, who can't fight, who do these crazy things. A lame, scared person is probably more likely to pull the trigger than someone who's confident and someone who's really out here living a certain life. And now I see a lot of people questioning, how could this weird kid have killed Matthew? This kid looks lame. This kid doesn't look like he's about that life. Matthew's a thug. How could this kid have gotten the upper hand on Matthew? How could this weird, lame kid have killed Matthew? And people are now saying they think this kid is just the fall guy and that someone else really did this. But if you ask me, the answer is right in front of you. Right in front of you. You know how everyone looks at this kid and they think this kid looks lame and weird and not capable of doing this? Matthew probably felt the same. Matthew probably had his guard down around this kid because he didn't think this kid would be someone you would have to worry about. You know how everyone has been saying that Matthew wouldn't have got caught slipping? That Matthew always had a strap on him and Matthew was always ready for something like this. That Matthew's not the type to get caught lacking. Well, look at this kid. I don't think that, I fully believe that Matthew could have kicked this kid's ass, right? I fully believe that, hell, if Savanah wasn't pregnant, Savanah maybe would have been able to kick this kid's ass as well. But I feel like there's a huge possibility that what we're looking at here is that Matthew approached this situation with his guard fully down because of the fact that this kid looks this way. You got this lame, weird-looking kid. He looks like he probably, buys weed and smokes it while playing video games and stuff at the house, right? Everyone's been saying, why would Matthew take Savanah around while he's doing these deals and handling this business? Well, he was probably thinking, we're just going to pull up on this kid. This kid is not too far off from Matthew's age. Matthew just turned 22. This kid's 19. Savanah's 18. I don't know. Maybe Savanah knew this kid. Maybe they went to the same school or something. I don't know. But I think the answer is right there. Everyone thinks, this is the fall guy. This kid doesn't look like he's capable of this. And I feel like Matthew probably felt the same way. Matthew approached this situation with his guard down, thinking that he's going to go serve this 19-year-old kid, that he's going to go bring some stuff to this 19-year-old kid, and there's nothing to worry about with this kid. This kid's cool. He's not really into the street life. He's not that type. Now, I don't know this kid. I don't know Christopher. Maybe Christopher looks like this, but in reality, Christopher is like this kingpin. Wouldn't that be crazy if we find out that really this whole time Christopher is out here running the streets? That'd be crazy, right? But I don't think that's the case. So when everyone's questioning, how could this kid have done this? How could this kid have overpowered Matthew or caught Matthew in this way? I think Matthew went into this situation with his guard fully down, thinking that everything was just copacetic, that everything was going to be cool because of who he was dealing with, not knowing that who he was dealing with was someone who was capable of some wild stuff, obviously. Now, to be clear, I'm not trying to say that there was no one else involved in this. I do think there's a possibility that there were other suspects, But law enforcement said that these are the only two suspects that they're worried about. These are the only two suspects that they were looking for. So do I believe there could be someone else involved? Sure. Maybe someone somewhere down the line, regardless if it's directly or indirectly, that's definitely a possibility. But I feel like a lot of people are looking at this kid and they're thinking, oh, this kid couldn't have done this. We already got people out here saying it's the fall guy. People will never be satisfied, but I don't want you to look at this kid and put anything past him. Okay? I don't want you to look at this face, look at the long hair, look at the glasses, and put anything past this kid. Because it looks as if that's what Matthew did. Matthew looked at this kid, maybe had whatever type of experiences he had with this kid, and he let his guard down, and he thought that everything would be cool, that he would be safe around this kid because this kid isn't really, he doesn't look like the type that would be about that lifestyle. But I'll be honest with you all. It doesn't look like this kid is on some real street type gangster type stuff, but it does look like how can I put it? If you put this kid in front of me and you said that he was involved in killing people in some street gangster stuff, I might not believe it. But if you put this kid in front of me and said that he was involved in like some sadistic, like psychopath type murder type stuff, I would totally believe it, right? This kid looks like he may have, it's like a dark, twisted side to him. And if it's true that he did do this, and it looks like he did, I mean, he's kind of admitted that he did, then he definitely has a dark side to him. So I just don't want everyone to do what they're doing right now. Not everyone, but a lot of people, they're looking at these suspects and they're thinking, oh, these can't be the two. These can't be the two because they look at Matthew, they look at his lifestyle, they see him dealing, they see him toting all these guns, and then they look at this kid with the long hair, then they look at the Frito Bandito, and it's hard for them to think that these two people could have done this. But I do think law enforcement has the right guy, and I think that everyone is just looking at this kid with their guard down, and that can be dangerous. But let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to the channel via Cash App. I'll have my Cash App in the pinned comment, or you can donate via Super Thanks, or you can help the channel for free by liking the video, subscribing, ringing the notification bell, and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.